me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
You're ready. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. This is a great turnout. I'm really happy to see everybody. So hopefully you're all aware that we invited Marcus Guiliano to join us this morning. I had heard through John mostly, but also did a little research of my own, checking out Marcus's blog, and he has a tremendous online presence. He's created his own blog. He does a lot of really cool things with social media, and I thought it would be very helpful for you all to hear from a business owner. Marcus owns a Roma Thai Bistro in Ellenville, and I haven't made it there yet, but I understand it's amazing, and I'm going to try to get there soon. So I thought it would be great for you to hear directly from a business owner, see how he built up his online presence and how he reaches his audience. And so that's why we have him here today, and I really appreciate you coming all the way.
My pleasure.
And so without further ado, thank you, Marcus.
Excellent. How's everyone doing? Excellent. This is exciting. I love speaking to other business people. I love it, love it. I love speaking in general, and I can speak on a lot of topics, but I really enjoy connecting with other business owners. It's really one of my passions besides my healthy green food. So I belong to a mastermind group where we share a bunch of ideas with other restaurateurs. I have a couple groups on Facebook that I participate in and share ideas, and I have my own group on Facebook for restaurant owners, people that love to market. So a little bit about me. We opened up, my wife and I, Jamie, we opened up a Roma Thai Bistro in 1980. It's the year I moved to New York. 2003. 2003 we opened. And when we opened, we had none of the technologies. I mean, to have a laptop computer in a meeting in 2003 was very, very rare. To be able to have a camera like this, this quality, and be able to record this and be able to reduplicate it was very rare. I remember when we first opened in 2003, somebody said, you know what, I'm going to list you guys on Happy Cow. The website Happy Cow, and I was doing backflips. I was like, yes, list us on Happy Cow. And now, of course, as you know, you can list yourself tons and tons and tons of places. So, sure. So, our story at Roma Thai. So we opened in 2003. We opened in a tough economy. People always have said to me, well, you know, how's 2009 treating you? How's this? How's that? How's that? I said, 2003 in Ellenville was terrible. I put the worst behind me. I can't imagine it getting worse. When we first opened in Ellenville, every other storefront was vacant. Who's ever been to Ellenville? Has anybody ever been to my restaurant? Awesome, excellent. So when we first opened, it was desolate. Ellenville was desolate, and I was a little naive. We were both naive, and I think that's what helped us open and be successful, was not really knowing what was ahead of us. If we would have mounted everything and drawn everything out as I know it today, I would have said there's no way I'm opening. And a lot of people overanalyze things or analyze things to that point where, and I know a lot of very successful business owners that were naive just like me and said, hey, I have a dream, I have a vision, I have a passion, and I'm just going to go for it. And whatever gets thrown in front of me, I'm going to figure out how to get over that as it's thrown in front of us. So Jamie and I have always been into healthy food. We've always been into the environment. And restaurants are the leading cause of detriment to the environment. The way we raise our food, the way things are packaged, the way things are processed, the way restaurants waste food, waste resources. It's quite shocking, and I knew I didn't want to be part of that whole restaurant stigma of just abusing Mother Nature. So several years before that, Jamie and I got into this healthy, holistic, natural, more real food approach. Some people call it farm to table, some people call it holistic. There's several different names for green food, eco food, green food. So we opened and we said we want to honor our belief system. We have a strong passion, and hopefully whatever you're doing, your business-wise, you have a very strong passion for it. So I knew that opening up a standard restaurant, I'd been a chef for years, and I had seen what happens in the restaurant hotel business, and I was ashamed of what my colleagues were doing. I was really ashamed. I was even ashamed of some of the places I worked at, what they were doing, and it was frustrating. I said, there's no way that I want to follow those footsteps, but I still want to cook food. I still want to cook good food. I want to cook gourmet food. I still want to be that chef who's doing the right thing on all levels. So back in 1999, when we were in Colorado, Jamie and I I was a partner in a restaurant out there, and Jamie and I, that was where we had our daughter in 1998. When our daughter was born, things changed. We were like, okay, we've screwed ourselves up really bad. Now we're responsible for a child. We really better start making some changes to move forward so we can lead by example and we don't screw our children up. I was 28 and I was on 5-6 medications. I was about 250 pounds. I was miserable. I had asthma my whole life. Jamie had asthma her whole life. And I was like, enough's enough of this. And we just buckled down, and there's no magic bullet for health. We all know that. It takes hard work, it takes exercise, it takes eating right, it takes positive thinking. There's a lot of different things that encompass healthy well-being. And a lot of people were just into, here's a pill, here's a silver bullet, here's this. And when I went to the doctor at 28 and he told me I needed cholesterol medication, I said, there's no way I'm taking it. I'm not taking these medications. I'm on enough medications. And the doctor goes, no, you have to. And I convinced the doctor to give me 1 month to figure out how to get off my meds or how not to take the meds. And I kind of knew what I was doing because I wasn't stupid. I was in the food business and I saw the food that I was eating, the food that I was serving. I knew there was a massive disconnect. The transparency wasn't there, the way food was being processed, and just the food that was, even at the nicest restaurants you can possibly imagine, what they were doing was shocking. And 30 days later, I went back, got my blood work done, and he said to me, my doctor, he goes, I don't know what you did, but the medication wouldn't have even worked that well. So that started the whole transformation of my culinary career and my mission, my story, my passion. Because now it was about, how do I take the same food that I'm serving to myself at home, her and I, and to our kids, and give it to you, right? I didn't want double standards. I felt bad about having double standards. There's no way I can go to work every day and not share my values to my guests, to the people that are providing my income. So that was the light bulb. It all changed. We started doing farm tours in Colorado. We met a farmer that wouldn't eat his own potatoes because they spray neurologically damaging chemicals on potatoes. And I said, man, the world needs to know this. Why don't more people know this? And why would I serve his potatoes? We said to the guy, I said, what do you do with your potatoes? Well, I mean, what do you do for potatoes? He goes, I eat my neighbor. He grows organically. And we went and visited the neighbor. And then all of a sudden, our minds just opened, our passion started going, and that's really how it all started, was because we just were concerned about what was happening. So we opened, flash forward to 2003, we opened Aroma Time Bistro. We're like, okay, we're dead set on our passion, this and that, let's move forward. The neat thing is, our passion keeps growing and encompassing more pockets and more pockets and more pockets. I have something what's called ecolectic cuisine, and ecolectic is the term that I coined myself, and it's a way to do business in a green fashion and produce and support independence, and it's really the whole picture of how you do business. And when that dawned on me, I was talking to a farmer. Has anybody ever read Fast Food Nation? Fantastic book, Fast Food Nation, 1998 or so, 1999. And the guy who hung himself in the book, Jamie had actually worked for the guy who hung himself. He hung himself because there was no hope left on the farm. The farm that was it, no hope. I ended up doing business with his brother, Jay. And I sat down with 10, 15 chefs. I got 10, 15 chefs together in a room, and we invited all these farmers in. And we looked at the farmers and we said, we have $5 million worth of purchasing power on this side of the table. What can you guys do for us? This was in Colorado Springs, pre-farm-to-table movement. Sure, Alice Waters was doing stuff and Rick Bayless, but there was no farm-to-table movement back then. And the farmers' eyes lit up. We had this great relationship. We all of a sudden now this whole farm-to-table in Colorado Springs was really, really thriving. And Jay came up to me, whose brother had hung himself, and said to me, Marcus, because of what you've done, my kids now have hope on the farm. He goes, I want my kids to stay on the farm. They're going to go to college, but he goes, 5 years ago, get the hell off the farm. This is not for you. He goes, now the farm is viable. And when I figured out that doing business was not about only the people sitting at the table having a good meal, but it was the people that I was buying from that were having the same experience as the people sitting at the table, that's when it happened. And I said, let's move forward. Let's do this. This is really what cooking's about. This is being satisfied, self-fulfilled, and the passion just bloomed from there. So Why am I here today? I want to talk to you about marketing, social media. I want to talk to you about how to sell stuff, how to sell your story, how to create a story, how to let the world know what's going on. Because that's super, super, super important. You have to have a competitive edge in business nowadays. No. So I like to consider myself a marketing maniac. Sure, I'm a chef. Sure, I'm a restaurant owner. But I got to tell you, when I get in work mode every morning, it's about marketing, 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 marketing. I cannot stand businesses that say, I don't have to market. I know a lot of chefs, especially old school chefs, who brag, I don't do advertising. I don't market. I don't have to. I don't have to. I don't have to. They're all over this place, these chefs. And a lot of other business owners too. That old school mentality of, I don't have to market. I can do a good product. I can do good service. And people will just flock to my door. That is over. That no longer exists. Loyalty is very rare to come by in guests anymore. Transparency is more evident because we can post everything. We can see stories. And that mentality, even that mentality 20, 30 years ago, was a very bold mentality to have back then. So, this is the question. How much is the value of a lifetime customer? And how much would you pay to acquire a lifetime customer? So I know that in my restaurant, if a couple comes in, they give me their email, I communicate to them, and they come in on a regular basis. In the course of 5 years, they're going to spend $6,800 in my restaurant. That's a nice number. So what would I pay to get more $6,800 customers? Because people always think of marketing as, well, I don't have a budget for marketing, or I have a budget for $1,000. Let me tell you something. If I could pay $200 to get $6,800 back, my budget's unlimited. As long as that person walks in my door, that $200 is going to go per acquisition, left and right. It's like a slot machine. It's like, oh, I have a budget at the slots today. It's $50. Well, every time you put $1 in, you got 2 back. Why stop at 50? So having a marketing budget is not feasible. It's a terrible idea. Having an ROI, seeing gains, is what it's about. Having new acquisitions is really the king here. So, of course, what worked last year might not work this year. Phone books. Look at those. They're dead. Print ads.
But we still get them. We just got one.
I remember when we first opened, spending $5,000 a year on phone book ads. What a waste of money. What a terrible waste of money. Especially if you spend $5 on a phone book ad now, it's probably a waste of money. Because phone books are just so obsolete. Everything is constantly changing. Does anybody remember MySpace? The social media platform? It's there, but it's gone. Facebook is here, and one of the reasons Facebook has been able to stay up is because they bought other platforms. They bought competitors. They bought a company called FriendFeed way back, because FriendFeed had such awesome designers, developers, and layouts. They said that company can be our competition, so they gobbled them up. Instagram. Facebook owns Instagram. They paid $1 billion for it in its infancy. In its infancy, like 18 months out of the gate, Facebook saw that's our competition. And what do we have to do next? So even as big as Facebook was and popular as Facebook was, they're even saying, what's next on the horizon, right? So it's just not a small people like us saying what's next. The big guys are doing it too. So marketers do ruin everything because we overuse it and we're not willing to adapt. And we're getting into a very crowded space. At one point, phone books were extremely crowded. Google pay-per-click ads, extremely crowded. There's certain things that get very crowded, and all of a sudden, everybody's doing it. Email, who does email marketing? Does anybody send an email newsletter? Does anybody communicate email newsletters? Open rates of 10 years ago were astronomical. Open rates today, if you get 15% open rate today, you're doing good. You're engaging your customers. 50% 10 years ago wasn't good. So the more that, it's like your mailbox. We hate checking our mailbox because what's in there? Junk mail. There's nothing really exciting in there. You don't think there is. By the way, I love snail mail, and we'll talk about that later. So marketers ruin everything. What is your number one asset? Does everybody know what their number one asset of their business is? You want to answer that question?
Yourself. What you're selling.
Customers. So if my restaurant burnt down tomorrow and I was closed for 9 months and I reopened 9 months later in a new location, how would I communicate? Database. Your database is your number one asset. If I sold my restaurant to somebody that wanted to keep rolling with it, how much more could I get for it if I said, here's 10,000 contacts that have been into my restaurant, that have spent money. Look at the paper trail of what they've spent, as opposed to handing no database over. Database is your biggest asset. And not many people understand that, and not many people are actually building that asset. And when I see it, when I see people not doing it, it drives me crazy, because that's how you communicate. That's how you let them know where you are, what you're doing, when you're reopening, or what's going on, or you're sharing a no sales pitch content, which is super, super important. We'll talk about that in a little while. So when is a good time to start building this asset? I work with a lot of restaurants. I coach and consult restaurants, and I do a couple other businesses here and there. And it drives me crazy when they say, well, I'm not ready to send an email, so I'm not collecting email addresses. I'm like, but you've been open 6 months. Well, I'm not quite ready yet to communicate. I'm just trying to do, so I'm not gonna worry about a comment card. I'm not gonna worry about database collection. I'm not gonna worry about surveys. And it drives me crazy. When's the best time to sell a book? A year before it's printed. When's the best time to start collecting database? Before you're even open. If you're not even open, it's not early enough to start collecting a database. Because when you open is when you want people to come in your door. That's when you want to communicate. We helped a restaurant this past summer, and 5 weeks before it was open, 4 weeks before it was open, they were at a festival giving away free product with an email sign up. They left that festival that day with almost 500 people in a database, and they were 3 to 4 weeks from opening the door. Well, guess what? Guess who got invited to the grand opening? Everybody that came and tried free product that day. So database, 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 collection, collection, collection. So how do you build a database? Does anybody who's building a database now? How do you collect?
Well, actually, what I do is database development.
Okay. Perfect.
I'm not using it the way I should be, but I do have a database of some restaurants and other customers.
Okay. So the best way to collect a database is to talk to a customer that walks in your door, or to buys from your website, or that purchases your product, or that you talk to. It's the number one best way. Hey, do you mind taking a quick survey? Can I get some of your feedback? In the restaurant industry, it's 6 times easier to get somebody in the door for the second time than it is for the first time. If they give me their information, they're coming back. Guaranteed. It means they had a good experience. It means they're willing to share their personal information, like their email, with me, their home address. They're willing to share that, they're coming back. But if I didn't put a comment card on the table, I would never know that. Now when you go onto my website, a survey pops up. Have you been here? Haven't you been here? How'd you hear about us? 2, 3, 4 simple questions. What do you like to eat? What do you like to drink? I don't drink. There's an option for that. So now I can collect this information and then put it into the proper categories. And when we talk about building a database, a lot of people say, well, let's just lump all these emails together. Let's lump everybody together, which is really not okay. People are bombarded with information left and right. If you're sending information to people about your business that they don't want to hear, they're going to turn you off. For me, we have a great bar, we have great wine, we have great beer. But if you don't drink alcohol and you're coming to my restaurant because you want a steak or a burger or a vegetarian dish, and I'm sending emails out on my bar, it's going to turn you off. Totally going to turn you off. You're going to turn off my emails, you're going to disconnect me, and you're going to unsubscribe from me. But here was a customer that came in and had a good time, and I'm pushing something that they don't want. So you have to figure out and survey, question, survey, analyze, and then put these in different buckets or funnels to be able to properly then go back and communicate. So I have a bucket, I have a lead where I know if they haven't been into my restaurant yet, because they went to my website, they filled out a little quick survey, they haven't been in yet. So now I can send them a welcome offer to come in for the first time, as opposed to a bounce back offer, which means they've been in and they're getting another offer to come back in for the second time. They might be two different offers, but I have to communicate to these two people totally different. And this one person that might want to come in might have been a fan of mine for 5 years. They're just waiting for the right moment to come in, right? And that initial offer I'm going to send them may be the right moment. Who's given their birthday to a restaurant before and never ever heard back from them? Has anybody dropped their card or business card in, filled out their birthday, and all of a sudden you never heard back from the restaurant? They dropped the ball. You were willing to give them your information, and they never communicated to you. The birthdays in my business are the #1 promotion. People go out for birthdays. People love to go out for birthdays. I know for me, for every $1 I spend on a birthday postcard, I get back $34 in return for every $1 I spend on a postcard. So for me, if you walk in the door, I want your birthday. You give me your birthday, I'm sending you an offer, a postcard, and you're getting it. Notice I said sending you, snail mail. I'm sending you an offer, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. So again, when is the best time to sell a book? A year ahead of time. Database, super important. It's never too early. But of course, we lack patience, right? We're going to wait to do something, then we want quick results right then and there. Let's get it done. Why aren't people coming in my door? Why aren't people signing up for my email? I've been open 6 months. Why aren't people signing up? Because you didn't start 12 months ago. You didn't start 6 months ago. And we just expect results. And that's the wrong way to look at marketing, and it's the wrong way to look at social media. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint. Don't burn yourself out. Don't get frustrated. Marathons, long, slow, steady. Seth Godin, fantastic author. He wrote a book called The Dip. I highly recommend reading this, suggest reading this. It talks about how business cycles. It's a fantastic read. Your breakthrough could be just around the corner. But if you're in the sprint mode, you're never going to see that break. This book really doesn't have much to do with what we're talking about, but it's fantastic. If you're in business, The Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes, it's one of the best books I've ever read on business. The guy is a genius. Chet Holmes, The Ultimate Sales Machine. Talks about everything up and down about building a business. Talks about some database stuff. Talks about training. Talks about training yourself, training your staff. Makes everything super, super approachable. He's become so popular that he actually works with Tony Robbins now. Him and Tony Robbins partnered up to do a business leadership program. The difference between social media and paid advertising. People think, well, social media is free, and then paid advertising is something different. When in fact they are different, but some are the same, but the bottom line is it's all marketing. Marketing. I don't care if it's a free platform or a paid platform. The idea, the name of the game is market. So ROI, return on investment on social media. That's a tough one. People always say, well, what's my ROI? Right? Some fancy business person comes to me and goes, well, what's my ROI on that? I look at them, I go, what's your ROI on those print ads? And of course, nobody graphs things out. We graph everything out. Jamie is extremely proficient at graphing everything we do. She'll look back and tell you how many beers we served out of a keg, how many beers we were supposed to serve out of a keg, and how much we made in our return on investment on a keg of beer. $34 per birthday offer on a postcard. I know that. $6,800 lifetime value of a guest. I track ROIs down almost to the penny. And I don't care about tracking social media ROIs. It's a totally different ROI. And I'm an ROI maniac. Because I don't put money into things that don't work. If a guy shows up for a print ad, and I place a print ad, and it doesn't work, I would never place that print ad again. I wouldn't. I'd have to attach an offer to it, a code, some kind of bar scanner or something to make sure that I can track and make sure that ad was being tracked properly. But if it's not working, I'm not going to do it. It's like the slot machine. If I'm pulling a slot machine that's not getting a return, I'm going to stop pulling that slot machine. But if I'm getting returns, I'm going to keep putting money back into that slot machine. And again, people lack patience because we can't see it right now, right here. We don't see the results. We don't understand the dip. We don't understand what's coming around the corner. We abandon a lot of our practices. We push them to the side. We think there's something else better. We lose focus. We get ADD on something and we're scattered. I have a problem because I lack focus a lot of times, and Jamie brings me back into focus. I look at a lot of things, and I look at a lot of opportunities. I look at a lot of different platforms. I look at a lot of different business angles. And so I see the big picture, and I have to find myself stepping back to narrow things down and saying, okay, this is where I should be putting my time, my energy, my money. This is where the results are coming from, or this is where I think I'm ahead of the curve. Now, farm to table, 1998, 1999, that was ahead of the curve. It was way ahead of the curve. Serving organic food in a mainstream restaurant, that was ahead of the curve. Gluten-free, I've known since 1999 that there's a serious problem with people having a gluten-free allergy. Long before celiac disease tests were getting put out there, long before allergy tests were pinpointing, I knew there was a problem. I was studying holistic nutrition. I was reading book after book after book because it was my passion. And I knew there was a problem. So back then, I just said, you know what? If I don't have to put gluten in my food, it's not getting gluten. I'm going to buy tamari, gluten-free tamari. I'm going to have a gluten-free bread option. I'm going to have a gluten-free burger bun option. I'm going to have whatever's gluten-free options. Our brownies, gluten-free. A bunch of our desserts, just gluten-free right out of the gate. Because I knew that that was coming up. I could forecast and say, hey, this is what I believe in. But if I would have abandoned myself after 4 years or 5 years, because the gluten-free craze has still not hit on by 2004, 2005, 2006. Now, a good percentage of our customers are gluten-free. And they come to us because we have gluten-free and because I know what I'm doing with gluten-free. So the dip, ride the wave. And again, people lack patience, especially accounting departments. So ride the wave. Is SEO dead? Search engine optimization. Who has websites? Do you do any search engine optimization? Do you do any analytics? Do you do any keywording? Do you have somebody do it for you? Okay, good. How do you do it? You don't? Okay. You have a website though?
Yes.
And you're up on SEO and? No.
Me?
No. Yeah. Yes.
Actually, I'm not doing anything with it, and I just have basically an online brochure for a website. I don't really promote it, not really using it as a marketing tool right now.
So here's my strategy on SEO. And I've been doing this since 2004. And George here taught me this. George is a whiz at SEO. Page a day. Put a page on the internet a day. Back then there was no Facebook. There was no Twitter. There were no platforms like that. So back in 2004, posting a page a day was a way to really get yourself out there. And I know it sounds like a huge task to post a page a day. I'm not asking you to create content. I'm asking you to post a page a day. 5 days a week would be ideal. There's plenty of content that already exists. We're having a conversation here today on the car ride here about our tea drinkers at the restaurant. We have a lot of great tea drinkers. How can we get tea drinkers more tea information? We go to our tea supplier. She's done all the work for us. I can call her up, I can do an interview. I can have her write an article. I can go onto her website and ask if I can use some of her articles. But now I'm relating it back to my business because I serve her product. And I'm posting a page on the internet with the keywords properly done. So
It's like Facebook, sharing Facebook posts.
it's like Facebook. We're sharing content already. We're sharing other people's content. But now I'm doing it on a website. So that's where the blog portion of a website comes in very handy. Or your regular website. And I'll explain the difference between a blog and a website in a little bit. So analytics. This is crucial. And I thought I was doing analytics. I thought I was doing some things and George tightened up my websites earlier this year, really tightened up a bunch of my websites. I can tell now what my most popular page on my website is, my second most popular page. I can tell where people are dropping off. So now I can say, okay, the menu page of my website, when people go to my website, they're going to the menu page. 50% of the time they go to my menu page. So now my menu page, I gotta make sure that's all cleaned up. I have to make sure everything's legible there. I have to make sure that they can easily find things. And I have to make sure that maybe there's an offer or a hook to pull them in on my menu page. That's the page I'm the most worried about because I can see that all through analytics. Google Analytics, which is free, right, George? It's a free tool from Google. You post the code into the footer of your website, which is easy to do, or your web person can do it, and you pull up a report, and you can say, hey, people are spending 8 minutes on my website, 3 minutes on my website. They're finding me through this keyword. They're going to this page. They're staying there the longest. Or, for instance, I have one website that has a 49% drop rate, which means they go to there, and 49% of them get off the page. I have one website that has a 6% drop rate. So they're getting there, and 94% of the people are staying on that page. Because they're getting there because the page is concise, they know what they're looking for, they found what they're looking for, but I'm conveying to the right crowd what it is. And 49% is still a good drop rate, right, George? That's really good. So I won at 6%. So I wouldn't know that if I didn't have analytics on my. So you go to Google Webmaster Tools, you have a Google account. If you have a Gmail account, if you have a YouTube account, a Google Plus account, all that's included in Google. Your AdSense, your pay-per-view, everything's included all in your pay-per-clicks. All that's included in your Google platform. Google wants you to succeed on the internet. They want people to get to your website, and they really want to make money off of you. So they're going to give you the tools. So for example, I know, George and I did a ton of researching keywords just recently. People search wine taste. Wine taste is one of my best keywords, but not capital W, not capital T, lowercase w, lowercase t, wine taste. Huge keyword for me. So now I'm going to build a page around wine taste. List some wineries, list some wines, list wine tasting notes. Link back to some wineries that I love. Get some content from some wineries I love and bring it over. And keep building upon wine taste, because I know I can further analyze, and you can do this on Facebook too. I can further analyze and say, okay, craft beer, because we have a huge craft beer menu at the restaurant. People in Kingston and Middletown, New York are searching for craft beer the most. So I'm going to put my money and my advertising in those two areas. I recently did a promotion where I was advertising for a wine tasting. This is where we found the wine taste worked. But I found that my biggest market of the people that were clicking the ads were women that were 35 to 44. It's my biggest market. They outshined everybody else. So what did I do? I cut all the advertising off to everybody else. And I doubled my presence in that age group, in that area and surrounding areas. Because I knew that's my market. But if I didn't have analytics set up, if I didn't go to look at the numbers, and this is something that Facebook provided with me because I placed an ad on Facebook. If I didn't go to look at those numbers, I would have been placing sort of blind ads. The technology is there for you to see who exactly your customer is and how they're getting to your Facebook, to your website. All that exists, and those tools are free. And if you're not using them, you're losing out. Social media versus marketing. We've spoken a little bit about that, but basically social media as people see it is you going on Facebook, you going on Twitter, you're going on Instagram. Marketing is, can you just click the next slide? Yeah. So here's what social media is. Here's the difference. Social media is interaction, content, and sharing. That's exactly what social media is. Social media is not posting your sale. It's not posting a product and saying, buy it now. You can do that, but not as often as interaction, content, and sharing. 3 super, super important components of social media. The objective is to build retention. the quality of people on your following, how many likes you get, how many interactions you get. Do not buy likes. Do not buy fan page likes. Do not buy Instagram followers. Do not buy, because it shows when you have 10,000 followers and only one person's commenting. You're not showing relevant enough information, or the people that signed up weren't sure what they were signing up for. How to build a real business. Bring value, customer service, and build a following. So bringing value, and I'm not saying by having the best price, that doesn't really build value. For me, building value is serving green, environmentally friendly food. That to people is valuable, very valuable. Avoiding white flour in my food is valuable to people. Having gluten-free food is valuable. Having a wider range of selections of beer is valuable to a beer drinker. So I'm showing value in those segments. It's not about price, it's about value. Now, you can show value through your stories and the history, which we'll talk about, because storytelling is huge. Customer service. You have to be on top of it, customer service. There's so many people that are doing what you're doing out there somewhere, and people can find them through the internet, that you have to show some caring. You have to be, you have to have customer service. It's one of those things where if you're not doing customer service, customers shouldn't be buying from you. You have to understand what people want, what people don't want. You have to understand when they complain. You have to understand when they don't complain. One of our simple best tactics is a handwritten postcard. So my staff has to write 5 or so postcards a night, so not everybody gets a postcard. But again, you've come to my restaurant, you're a repeat customer, or you're a first-time customer. You've given me your email address, you've given me your address, you've given me your birthday. I have all that information. How long does it take to write a handwritten postcard and put a stamp on it and drop it in the mailbox? It takes all but 5 minutes to do.
Yesterday morning, just to customers that guests that we haven't seen.
We haven't seen.
We haven't seen them in a couple months, and I'm like, I wonder where they are. Just wrote a quick handwritten note, miss you, hope all's well, come see us again soon. And that's coming from me, not even my staff.
So the staff will say, great, nice to meet you, glad you enjoyed your tuna tonight, or glad you were out hiking on the trails. Come back.
Celebrating your birthday.
Yep, thanks for celebrating your birthday. Has anybody ever gotten a personalized handwritten postcard from a restaurant? Who did that?
A French restaurant in the middle of nowhere in France for 10 years, at least 10 years. And I went back 10 years later, that's what I'm saying.
Excellent.
It was a beautiful card, just a picture of the place, and I said, I have to go back.
Beautiful.
And it was hot.
Right? And it worked, right?
It worked.
Right?
Yes.
Exactly.
I got the place. And a million people to go.
Yeah, exactly, right?
And the next time you're there, you'll want
I
to go
am
back
going
again.
back.
And you're telling the story right now to us,
Yes, to go.
right?
They bring the postcards back in and they say, oh my gosh, I can't believe you sent a postcard. Or I'll get text messages or emails from guests.
Yeah, something so simple. Again,
That costs how much in the long run?
But time, you need to, I mean, it is,
But it
it's
takes
5
time.
minutes, but people don't take the time.
people don't take the time. People don't take the time to culture or nurture relationships. Because again, people don't have patience, right? Most restaurateurs expect, well, why aren't you coming into my restaurant? Why aren't you coming back? You were here, why aren't you coming back? They don't put the effort to get somebody back. They don't build that relationship. Let's face it, in my business, another restaurant can come in and swoop somebody right up. And I've lost a loyal customer. It's so easy to do. Industry facts in the restaurant business: guests like to hear from their favorite restaurant every 22 days. If I'm not communicating every 22 days, I can possibly lose a guest. I can possibly lose them before that, right? They can find another restaurant that they just love a dish or something or this or that, or they happen to have moved closer to another restaurant. So, but 22 days is the threshold in the restaurant industry. Every 22 days. So people are going to say, well, I don't do things that well. This is a lot of stuff you're throwing on me. This is a ton of information. I just know how to do this. right? Mariano Rivera, he had one pitch. That's what he did best. One pitch for 19, 20 years. Ultimate all-time best closer in baseball history. One pitch, and he mastered it. He did it over and over and over and over. All right, social media platforms. There's so many platforms out there. And if you look and you search all these new apps and stuff, you'd see this is new, this is new, this is trending, this isn't, this is trending downward. And it gets really confusing. I signed up for a new platform called Beam. Be Me, it stands for. That's pretty cool because it's social media in my eyes. Most social media, you sit there, you take a picture of yourself, you take a picture of what's there, you get to proof it, you get to view it, you get to edit it, you get to filter it, you get to tag it and post it. Be Me is being me. You take the phone, you pop it up to your chest, and pop it up to your chest, and it's a 4-second feed of what I'm seeing right now in my eyes. Unfiltered, unedited. I don't even see it in the posts. That's it. It activates from the sensor on your camera, and bam, you turn the app on, bam, put it on your head, wherever you want to put it. Put it on your hand, and then Be Me. Be Me for 4 seconds. It's a pretty cool app. Is it going to go anywhere? I don't know. But it's pretty cool. But
Can you spell that?
B-E-M-E. Be Me, it's called. Beam or Be Me. Facebook. Who in this room would swear they would never be on Facebook? And who's on Facebook? Yeah. So, you have to embrace this technology. Technology is here. These platforms are here. This way of communicating is here. We've gone through the biggest cultural shift ever the last 20 years. That's the bottom line. We communicate differently. You walk into a mall, you walk into a store, you look at the person driving next to you, they're not watching the road anymore. It's a whole different way of communicating now. People call me on the phone, and I'm upset they call me on the phone because they're taking my time away from me. 20 years ago, I'm waiting for the phone to ring. Who's going to call me? Now it's like, I don't have time to talk. Send me a message. And if I have to answer you in a one-liner, I'll answer you in one-liner. I don't have time to say hello. How are you? How's this? How's the weather by you? What's happening? I don't have time for that. And that's just the bottom line. If we're not going to embrace that, because that's what our guests are doing. Our guests don't have time for that. My guests don't have time for that. They want to know, hey, what's for dinner tonight? What's the specials? People walk into my restaurant, they look at the menu, they push it out, what am I eating tonight? I go to a restaurant, I push the menu, I said, what's my death row meal tonight? It's my last meal. I asked the waiter or waitress, what am I eating? I don't want to be bothered looking through everything. Tell me the best you have right now, and let's go with it. Top social media platforms. These are the top 3. Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat. Snapchat's a little confusing for me still. We have it. We use it. My staff uses it more than I do for the restaurant. It's a little confusing. But it's the top 3. I can't ignore it. That's where people are looking. You now go to football teams. Professional football teams have their own Snapchat. Supplement companies have their own Snapchat.
Can you tell? I don't know what it is.
It's a way to send messages directly to your followers, which are people in your contact list, which are already on Snapchat.
With a picture.
With a picture.
With a text message, basically.
Picture, text message, little video.
You write the message, and it disappears within however many seconds. So you can never bring that back up again. Kids are communicating like crazy. That's how they text each other now. They want to see what's going on. They take a selfie of themselves, of what they're doing, and then they write a message. How are you today? And then the person responds with a picture and a message. It's like a text message and a picture.
It's text messaging on steroids. Is basically what it is. Because you're
They're using it and they love it, and that's what they're doing.
And that's where their eyes are.
They see each other, right? They want to see what's going on, because what we've gone away from with computers and cell phones and text messaging is seeing each other, right? So now they're seeing each other, what they're doing at that moment, where they are, and they're communicating and texting.
These are my future customers. Some of them are my customers. I go on Snapchat, I have followers that are my age on Snapchat. We have grown men sending emojis, smiley faces, 6-year-old men sending smiley faces. Who would have thought 15 years ago would have had that?
And it's our 16-year-old daughter, that's who's using it. So think about them 2 years from now when they're in college, and then think about them 2 years after that, 4 years after that when they're out of college and what they're doing. So you have to think about your customer base, your guests, what they're going to be like in 4, 5, 6 years.
If you're a brewery and you're not on Snapchat, you're missing out. That's your age group right there, 21, 25, 29. If you're a brewery, that's your age group. And they're all on Snapchat. They're doing it. And if you're not on there, you're losing out. That's the bottom line.
We don't. We hated text messaging when it first came out, but now everybody's doing it. My grandmother's doing it.
Yeah.
And it disappears?
It disappears.
Disappears. So they can watch it and react to it, or you can put your story on. Your story stays for 24 hours. You can build on your story. So like the other day, we sent out, our musician was playing at night, and I sent it to all my contacts. And I had people that messaged me back, oh, too bad I can't make it tonight. I was up late last night, this and that. So people responded right away to me sending out, hey, here's our musician tonight. It's a Kinks tribute. And so it's simple to do. It's there, people's eyes are there. It doesn't cost any money. It just takes a couple of seconds to do something like this. And proficiency to learn the platform, right? That's my biggest downfall is I don't like learning new things. Like I won't upgrade my phone operating system because I don't want to learn the new operating system, even though there's only a few changes. I don't want to upgrade one program to another, and I'll hold on to the last possible time of upgrading because I don't want to take the time to learn a new program, the same program, new version. But it's the reality of what we have to do. You got to take the moment. You got to be patient, and you have to learn and communicate and understand where people's eyes are. People's eyes are where business is. That's why social media sells stuff, because that's where people are looking. We talked about people aren't looking at the road because they're not looking at billboards. They're looking at their phone, right? So placing a billboard ad might be a little sketchy these days. People aren't even having their eye on the road.
From your statistics, I was told that Facebook now attracts people who are older, who have more time. That's really not a way of communicating with young people. Is it true? I mean,
Totally true.
My grandmother just joined Facebook probably about 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
And your grandmother's 86?
My grandmother's 86 years old.
Yeah, it really seems it's like old people on Facebook and all the young people.
But it started out with young people, so
Right,
now the
right.
young people are moving to
Right.
Instagram, Snapchat. So what's going to be the next thing, right? What's
Right.
that next thing going to be? Even though Snapchat, to me, I don't use it. My kids, that's what they use all the time.
We use it for business.
We use it for business. But my daughter, our 16-year-old daughter, pulls it up, and she does a lot of the business stuff for us.
A new thing.
Until we can understand more about it.
So I take the time to learn it.
And I have to constantly say, how do I get that picture? Someone just sent me a Snapchat. And she's like, Mom, I showed you this before. And I'm like, I just don't get it. Right? Because we just don't get it until we get it. And once we get it, then it's time to move on to the next thing. But it's basically, Instagram is like taking Facebook, but it pops up instantly on your phone, and it's a text message and a picture.
Or a little video.
Or a video.
Little video.
Videos or stories.
But it's time sensitive, right? And once you watch it, once you see it, once you view it, it's not there anymore. So it's really, it's got that hook. Like, okay, and the story, your stories are only for 24 hours. So it's like, if I don't watch it, I'm going to lose it. So, yes.
What is LinkedIn?
LinkedIn is...
I get requests all the time to be
I'm a huge fan of LinkedIn.
I have no
George, you're a fan of LinkedIn too. Yeah, LinkedIn is much more business focused. So I go on there to get my business contacts. I go there to connect with an editor at Forbes. I go there to connect with the owner of a brewery. So I use it for specifically for that. And there's groups in there that you can really get in there and spread your message and network. But it's not fun and playful like Facebook is. So it's more business focused. And you just can't go on and just like start requesting all these people and spamming people. It's much more, it's a bit different. So, but LinkedIn is great. I love the platform. I love it. I love it.
I wanted to go back to when you were talking about Instagram and Snapchat. If you are, I know that you can put those icons on your website to say,
Yes.
but if you're not on there yet, which I don't really have a solid business Instagram account or Snapchat account, So the question is, how do you build followers?
You build followers by putting out content. So,
It's just catch as catch can.
yes. And it doesn't have to be your own content. It can be, you can repurpose and share other people's content. Okay? But now here's the thing. Here's the big thing, which I'm going to talk about. It's not about really posting. It's about listening. And I'm going to talk about that. Good listeners get followers.
You need permission
To
you just said that you use other people's.
typically not, because a lot of other people have branded their stuff. Give them credit. Don't try to make it as your own. Say, hey, I just got this from xyz.com. I thought I'd share this with you today. Then you're giving credit. You're putting the footnote. You're giving credit, and you can reshare it. So even on your blog, on Twitter, that's what a retweet is. You're just retweeting. Tumblr, the blog, you're just tumbling. You're tumbling other people's information. So you're just sharing it. That's what this whole super information highway is that we call the web, right? It's a ton of information. How much really new content's out there? I mean, yeah, okay, so a new study gets done, a new product might get done, but really, it's one scientific study that's being done on eating rock powder. And then everybody's gonna post their version of eating rock powder, right? It's the same content. It's just being repurposed and reworked, and so it's never about selling your product. This is super important. People don't want to be sold, but they love to buy. That's on my mission statement at the restaurant. My staff, it's reinforced to them. People hate to be sold, but they love to buy. Don't bombard them with cheesy sale items, with your product, with why your product's so good and this and that. It gets tiresome for a lot of people.
You don't go to a restaurant to sit there and drink water, right? You're going there because you want to eat, you want to spend money.
You want to buy. When you come to my restaurant, you want to drink wine. Most of you want to drink wine, and I want to sell you wine, but I don't really want to hard sell you. I want to give you the options. I want to tell you, hey, if you're looking for a Merlot, I have these 4 fantastic Merlots in the category you're looking for. Oh, and I happen to actually know this vineyard. We're there, and I've met the owner of this one, and this one has this body, this one has this flavor. And then you're going to make the decision to buy it. It's not me telling you, hey, this $63 bottle of Merlot is what you need tonight as opposed to this $43 bottle. Then you'd be like eked out, right? But if I told you this $63 bottle, we were at the vineyard, it's 600 acres, we met the owners, here's the pictures on our website, this and that, you're going to feel that connection, and you're going to feel better about spending 63 bucks. You might not even want to spend the 43 bucks because you know there's more of a connection, an emotional connection on that $63 bottle. For me, and now I'm showing to you, and that has happened. Last year, a customer came in for lunch. They were going to buy a $37 bottle of Chianti. And we talked about one of our past Italy trips. Been to Italy 3 times. Talked about one of our past Italy trips. Got in a conversation with Jamie. They were so ecstatic to spend $109 on a bottle of wine for lunch. And loved every sip of it. Loved the story.
They actually came back again for it.
Yes. But it wasn't a hard sell. We just gave them some information. We told a story, which we're going to talk about storytelling. What is the number one key to having success on social media? Be all ears, no hard sell, or quit now. Listen, listen, listen. Be all ears. So, one of my Instagram tactics right now is we're located by Sam's Point Preserve, Minnewaska Preserve, and Mohonk Preserve. We have 3 preserves on the mountain there in Ellenville. We have Honors Haven Hotel, which is the former Falls View. We have a Lippman Park, which is for mountain biking. So I go on to Instagram. I put in the hashtag's a keyword, hashtag, the #, Minnewaska, hashtag Sam's Point. Or in Instagram, I can look at the exact location. So if you're at Sam's Point hiking at 10 o'clock in the morning and you're at a beautiful waterfall, you're going to whip out your camera, you're going to post an Instagram photo, right? It's me and Jim, it's me and Joe, it's me and Alice here at the waterfall. Post it. That picture is tagged of the location. You can see where you're at on these locations. These pictures are tagged. They can put a location or they can hashtag it. So I go online and I say, who's at Minnewaska today? Who's at Sam's Point today? Put in the proper search stuff, the hashtag or the location. Oh, there's Jim and Alice. I don't know Jim and Alice, but Jim and Alice are having a great time 4 miles from my restaurant at a beautiful waterfall on the mountain. Like.
They're gonna be hungry in a few hours.
Great picture. The waterfalls look great today. Glad you're enjoying the local trails. Jim and Alice look at their phone and say, Hudson Valley Green Restaurant just liked my photo. Who are they? Where are they? Let's click their profile. Oh, honey, they're 4 miles down the road. Let's click their link and find their website. What do they have to eat there? We're going to be off the trails here in a little while, and we're going to be hungry. I didn't sell a single thing. I listened, and I interacted. Every single one of you have people that are buying something in a like business. I'll even go to the local restaurant, to Gabby's, and like people when they're there. They post a picture of their guacamole, and I say, you're right, they make great guacamole. These people have to eat again. It's not one time and done. If they're in town for the weekend, they got to eat somewhere Sunday. They got to eat somewhere Saturday if it's Friday night, or if they're here midweek. And other people are like, why would you go on somebody else's and like the competitors? There's competitors anyway. And if I'm not out there in front of people and listening and talking and communicating, they're never going to find me. They're eating. That's a client. If you have a mouth and you eat, you're a client of mine. And you're only 4 doors away if you're at Gabby's. 4 doors. That's it.
Okay, so explain what you do. I mean, so you go to Gabby's.
Yeah. Online, on Instagram. So I go right on Instagram. And I can actually give a demo afterwards. So we've done some time for some Q&A stuff afterwards, and I can take my laptop out and we can do this. But you go onto Instagram and you just search a hashtag. You search a keyword or hashtag or location. And that's it. And you just see what people are posting. Believe it or not, people check into Callicoon. Callicoon's an area. There's a place on Instagram that people can check in or hashtag Callicoon. Now, if I'm a restaurant in Callicoon, I want to know who's coming here Friday night. I want to know who's going to Honors Haven in Ellenville on a Friday night because they're checking in. They might not like the food there. So I'm going to like one of their photos. I'm going to say, welcome to the area.
But your Instagram name has to be catchy enough for them to want to find out more information.
You need to have
Hudson Valley Green Restaurant.
Hudson Valley Green Restaurant. That's my name. It describes what I do. I'm in the Hudson Valley. I'm a restaurant and I'm green. So you have to have an Instagram handle or any of these other handles that match your business. It has to be some keywords and a description right in your name. Alice the Cruise Planner. Alice the Cruise Planner is going to go and see who's checking in at Carnival this weekend in the local port in New York or in Miami or wherever. And Alice the Cruise Planner is going to start liking people's photos and saying, enjoy your cruise.
Or people who just got engaged, right?
If you're a jewelry store, well, that's a bad example because they already bought the ring, but right.
If you're engaged and you're having your wedding in a few months.
Wedding.
Well, you're going on a honeymoon, aren't you?
Going on a honeymoon. So you have to figure out who your target audience is and then gently listen to them, communicate to them. Don't sell them because they know what Alice the Cruise Planner does if that's in her name of her Instagram handle. They know what she does.
But Alice just posted a picture of going to the Caribbean. Oh wow, that's beautiful. Maybe I want to go there for my honeymoon. Oh wow, that picture looks great. You know what? At Hudson Valley Green Restaurant. Oh, that looks delicious. I love tuna. I love hummus. I love asparagus. Whatever it might be, because then they're going to start scrolling through your pictures on Instagram and say, wow, I should have gone there. Oh, look at that beer. Oh my gosh, I love Keegan Ale beer.
So if you look at my Instagram account, I have about 225 followers, and I follow about 125, 150. So again, it's not about having massive numbers. It's about having the interaction with people. My Twitter account, I have 25,000 followers, and I follow like 3,000 people. But I don't think most of them are really quality people on Twitter. I have much more quality people with 225 on Instagram than I do with 25,000 on Twitter. So.
Do you think the photo is the key to
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about photo. So be a storyteller. Content's king. Be a storyteller. I have no problem charging $1 more than the restaurant down the street for what appears to be the same item. So if I'm selling a portobello, grilled portobello appetizer, and they're selling a grilled portobello appetizer, I have no problem charging $1 more. But I have to tell the story. If you know that my portobello is from down the road, and it's raised locally, the farmer, the name of the farm, this and that, there's more transparency, you're willing to pay $1 more for something that you know about. There's a more of an emotional connection than something else that you don't know about, right? Especially if you're very conscious on food. Because again, a lot of my markets are very conscious on their food. And we do a lot of educating. I've sent out so many emails and so many videos on YouTube about all the Chinese products that are infiltrated into our food supply. A ton of them with certain health consequences. That's all I have to do is post a video on 90% of the restaurants using Chinese garlic. And I'm going to get business. I don't have to say, come to my restaurant because I'm this and that. No, 90% of restaurants use Chinese garlic. Here's where it's grown. Here's where American garlic's grown. Here's the residual chemicals left in the Chinese garlic. Here's what the American garlic's about. If I'm posting that, they know that I'm supporting it and that I'm selling that. So stories, 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 stories. So our Italy trip. We've been to Italy 3 times. We post a ton of pictures on Facebook. We went just this last fall, and we went back in 2009, and then before that we went, before we had the restaurant. But every time we post pictures of us in Italy, people walk into the restaurant, I want to drink what you drank in Italy. Happened 2 weeks ago. 5 ladies walked in, sat down. They go, we're drinking what you drank in Italy. Simple as that. They saw the pictures. We were at 12 wineries. They want to know the story, the emotional connection. Sourcing.
People for our last wine.
Yeah, oh yeah, brought a ton of people to the last wine dinner. Sourcing from farms, farm to table. For me, that's huge. That's a big, big, big selling. Social responsibility. That's a huge term in food now. And I've been on that. I've owned socially responsible food. I've owned that domain name for 5 years before this was really even a popular buzz, because I saw this is where the industry is going. And now you have all these documentaries on slave labor sugar, slave labor chocolate, slave labor shrimp, slave labor seafood in Thailand. They're all over the place now. New York Times writes about it. Time Magazine writes about it. And I knew that this was an issue because, again, I'm passionate about the industry and I do my research. And I know these small little details of my industry because I've researched it. And it's just a part of passion. I can read all day about this stuff. And so I knew that this is a big issue. Socially responsible cuisine. So this website I have gets great hits. I've repurposed other people's documentaries. It's great. I also have a site called nofarmedsalmon.com where I've got some of the top documentaries on there. I've had people, marine biologists, reach out to me. One of the top in the world in British Columbia, and said, Marcus, you're doing a fantastic job. Thank you for your cause. And I'm like, all I did was took your information, so-and-so's information, and I put them on a website. I'm just trying to tell people, hey, farm salmon is not what you think it is. I don't care if it's organic or not. It's not good for you. And here's people that are in the industry that are catching my work like this. It's really not my work. I'm just repurposed information. But I bought a domain name, nofarmsalmon.com. I put up a whole new website, and there's a small link to my green certified restaurant on the side there. But if you're getting to that site, if you're getting to nofarmsalmon.com and you're going to click my link, you're a perfect customer. You're a perfect guest. That's a pre-qualified guest right there. If you're going to socially responsible food and you read through my stuff and you click the link to my green certified restaurant, you're a qualified guest. I mean, that's like, wow, you're the perfect guest for me. So what if you don't have products that have big stories? Somebody's going to say, well, gee, I sell cement, or I'm selling rock powder, and I can't wait for that damn scientific study to come out because I don't have a story on this rock powder. Are you a 3rd generation rock grinder? Is there a family history of you grinding rocks? There's got to be some kind of angle that you can figure out that's going to sell. So is it your family history? Did you migrate here from somewhere? Did you start this business when you were at home because it was a home-based business, because you had kids? There's some kind of story that you can weave with whatever you're doing. Stories sell, stories create emotion. People buy based upon emotions. People don't want to be sold, but they love to buy. They want to know I'm helping out a stay-at-home mom who quit her 6-figure job so she could spend time with her twins and give them a better quality of life. So I'm going to go buy her product because I feel good about supporting somebody that's doing that, as opposed to going to Walmart or somewhere else and buying a similar product. There's a story somewhere. There's a story everywhere. Figure it out. Research and ask your guests, your customers, why are you buying from me? They'll tell you why they're buying from you. And then focus on that. Transparency. For me, transparency is huge, and that's what all these social platforms do. Websites, YouTube, it's all about social, it's all about transparency. It's all about seeing Jamie and I in Italy. It's all about seeing where food comes from. It's all about seeing where the garlic comes from. It's all about seeing our kids, our family. A lot of times we show our kids. We want to show that we're a real business. We want to show that we're a real family. We want to show that we're just not, thank you. We just want to show that we're just not there just to sell a product, that we're actually real people. So transparency is huge. Your social media policy and why you need to be on social media. So, go ahead and click the next slide, Jay. The reason you need to be on social media is because people are talking about you. I know colleges, I know businesses. One of my big food suppliers refuses to go on social media because people are going to badmouth them. And they got a great reputation in New York City, in Miami, in LA, in DC, and Chicago. They have a fantastic reputation. They sell to all the top restaurateurs in New York City, but they don't want to have a platform because they don't want people to bitch and moan about them and complain. I said, those people are complaining already. They don't need your Facebook page to complain about you. But if you had a Facebook page, they did complain about you, you could fix it. You could see, you could learn from it. Colleges are like this. I'm on an advisory board at a college, and I'm like, you guys have got to get on social media. No, we can't do that. But you're already there. The kids are talking about you, good or bad. That's the bottom line. You're already on social media, whether you signed up or not. So we have a social media staff policy. I want my staff to talk about us. I want my staff to share our posts. I want my staff to say, awesome music tonight. I don't want my staff to say, slow here tonight. Somebody come visit me. Right? Don't want them to say, oh, that special didn't sell that well tonight. Or 3 people returned the lobster Benedict today. Brunch, rough day. So you want your staff to help you spread the word, but you need a concise policy with your staff of what's acceptable to post. What we do is we take old content, bring it to the top of our Facebook page because you can do a pinned post. A pinned post means that's the first thing somebody's going to see on your Facebook page when they go on. Because when you post stuff, it goes in chronological order down. Then when somebody comments on a post down here, it brings them back up to the top. Somebody comments here, it brings that to the top. Well, if you take a post that you want to stay at the top, you pin it. And it's right up at the top, and no other post can go above it. So what I do is, to build relevancy, because you can see how many shares you have on Facebook, how many views and shares and all that kind of stuff. If you make a new, let's say every Monday I did lobster night, which I do. If I write a new post every Monday night for lobster night, that's great. But how if I took the post from last week that had 500 views? Or from 4 weeks ago that had 1,000 views? And pinned that to the top, that had all my staff share a post that already has 1,000 views. It already has traction. What builds relevancy, which builds shares, which builds views, is when these search engines see old content coming back up to the top. So again, I have lobster night every Monday night. Do I create a new post for lobster night, or do I take an old post and redistribute it? Redistribute. Because now it shows Facebook that, hey, whatever Marcus posted 2 months ago still means meaningful. People are still sharing it. People are still commenting on it. It's meaningful content. So now, that post, so now what we do is we pin that post to the top, we send an email out to our staff and say, please share the musician who's coming this Saturday night on your Facebook page. Now I have 4 or 5 staff members who go in, grab it, like it, comment it, reshare it. So it just builds relevancy, it builds more. So my staff knows, hey, this is the link to share this week. This is what we should be talking about at the restaurant. Banner pictures on Facebook. Everybody knows that banner picture across? 850 by 315, long, narrow. So, if you've noticed here, when you log on to Facebook, you're going to have your other image right there, your profile picture, and you're going to have some wording there. So see how I've left those blank? So these are my cover photos that I recycle. So next year for Thanksgiving, that already has 2,000 views. I'm going to go back and take that one from last year, repurpose it, put it up there, and have my staff share it. It's going to start out of the gate in the beginning of November with 2,000 views from last year. And I've put it predominantly on my banner page on Facebook. So now whether my post is pinned or is a new post there, the first time you log on to Facebook is you're going to see Monday's Lobster Night, or we're open for Thanksgiving.
So who's creating the graphics?
I had a graphic artist do that. I had a local graphic artist do that does some work for me. A lot of times I do my own stuff though. I've learned how to do my own stuff. Not as good as that, but I do some simple, I can take a picture, wine bottles, and I can type in wine dinner, Portello wine dinner, such and such date, this price, and I can figure out the dimensions and I can pop it up in there and I can make it work. So if you go onto my Facebook, you'll see some photos that I've done myself.
Also, I haven't used it that often, but I know
Fiverr. Yeah.
You don't like them?
I've tried to use them a couple times. Fiverr, the idea is you go on for $5 and get stuff done. For $5, you're not getting much done. I've never had luck with quality.
It takes a lot of time and effort to get $5 worth. You know, to get
The guy who did one work for me for $5, it was so bad, and he wasn't understanding what he just basically took and overlaid pictures on top of pictures without doing a PNG file, without wrapping it so it looked nice and neat. So like if you see my green logo, see how it's cut out, as opposed to taking just a picture where it's white and it's a block, where it would just be a block of white and then the photo. You have to pay more than $5 on Fiverr.
I'm sorry.
I pay $35 a project for something like this, is all I pay. It's a reasonable price. It's an hour worth of work. She'll touch it up. She'll make changes. $35 for a project. But
It's easy to make your own.
it is easy to make your own. I can't do stuff like that. But those images, $35 each, I'm going to get years of use out of them. So
try not to put dates on things anymore. So like we're making a Mother's Day postcard. It's Mother's Day. Mother's Day doesn't change. You know, everybody's going to know when Mother's Day is. So we learned that a long time ago, that don't put dates on.
reuse it for the following year.
Because then you can use it. New Year's Eve happens every year, right?
Happens every year.
Same date.
Valentine's Day, every year. Thanksgiving, every year. There's no date on there.
And there's no turkey either, I noticed. That's because you're vegan?
There is no turkey on there.
That is the reason. There is no
Right,
turkey on there.
because if I was a vegetarian and you had turkey on there, I'd be turned off.
You'd be turned off. You'd be turned off, right? So,
But it also, right after it says vegetarian, gluten-free. So we try.
so it says turkey, and yeah, we try to. If you don't know, my restaurant serves steak, seafood, and vegan food, vegetarian food. I prefer to eat vegan most of the time. That's the way I feel best. More energy. It's a lot of things that it's a whole other lecture about. But that's the way I felt that works best for me, and that's how I got rid of all my medications years ago. So, but I taste meat. I'll taste, because we're cooking it. I want to know how it tastes. But you'll never see me sit down to a steak or a burger. It's more like, I'll taste the brisket. It was just cooked. Let's make sure it's servable and fine. Perfect. Good job, guys. Thanks for doing that.
So our marketing, we try to be able to use it year after year.
All right, the Kodak moment, which is now Instagram. The Kodak moment has never been lost, has it? It's just been recycled into a different platform. Did you know Kodak was the inventors of the digital camera? 1976. 0.3 megapixel. It's an 8-pound camera. Big and boxy. They decided that it would compete with their chemical business. And they didn't want to screw up their film developing and all that. So they kind of just like said, okay, it's here. It's here. Big mistake. Anybody ever been to Rochester to the Kodak factory building? Yeah, they're done. Yeah, they just shot themselves in both feet and both hands at the same time. To have the technology there in 1976 and just to be this massive company, the world leader, and now they're not here. They're gone. So, my Instagram strategy, I talked about that earlier, about going on and liking, so that's a repeat. Again, it's not about the amount of followers, it's about the amount of people that actually care about what you're doing, about what you're posting, and about what you're saying, and about what you're liking. It's the amount of people that care is what really matters. Lots of places are competing for your attention. Be better than you were yesterday. Always think of doing something new. It's about doing something new. Does everybody have their phones on them? Everybody needs to take their phones out now. Okay. There's my number. Text me. I'll send you a gift certificate. Send me your name, your email address, and your mailing address. I will send you a gift certificate to the restaurant, and I will send you a link to this presentation online, my website. I don't know if there's service here. You might want to. You can write it down. Okay.
Email or text, did you say?
You're gonna send me your. They're gonna text to that number. You're gonna send me your name, your email, and your mailing address.
So I can't be on your mailing list.
I'm sorry?
I can't email you from an iPad. I have to do it from a phone.
You get the phone. A text from a phone.
You know, it's very, just a point. When I'm sitting there listening to this whole program, which I think is excellent, I'm saying to myself, but he's not marketing himself to who's here. So I was kind of waiting for this twist.
I'm creating value for you first, right? I could have done this in the beginning, right? Sign my sheet, get this and that. But I want to create some value and some content. I want you to trust me before right? I've been speaking for what, an hour maybe? So I want to build some trust. And I've never done this before, so this is doing something new. Yes.
You are in the restaurant business and you didn't mention TripAdvisor.
Yes.
Why?
We can talk about that. We'll talk about that. Talk about TripAdvisor and Yelp. Does everybody have that written down?
No. I'm having issues with my phone.
You can write the number down.
Write the number down and we can talk about TripAdvisor, we can talk about Yelp. It's again, you know, you have to be there.
I'm
Did
sorry.
everyone get it?
No.
Go ahead.
419
0715. I guess we should make sure it's correct.
Yes.
Everybody good?
So do not post in your best interest, right? If I would have came out first thing in this presentation and said, send me something, give me your phone number, you're like, who is this guy I'm going to give my phone number to? It's the first thing out of his mouth, right? It wasn't, I'm trying to build value and I'm trying to show you that, hey, I'm here to help you. I'm here to listen. I'm here to help. And that's what you need to do on all your social media
And
platforms.
even years ago, you would have thought it was crazy, even to give out your cell number like this, right? But now everybody has everybody's cell numbers, and we're texting. And we're
Right, 10 years ago, like, oh, don't give my cell number. I don't want people calling me. Now it's like, here's my cell number, and just... The easiest way to bring value is to be a DJ, not a songwriter. Repurpose. Use other people's content. It's nice to be a songwriter. It's nice to create original content. But maybe you want to do a combination. DJ 75% of the time, songwrite 25% of the time. There's always a balance. I tell people in the email marketing campaign, 75% of the time it should not be a sell. It should be, hey, I wanted to share this with you. Or, look what happened yesterday, or this or that, or hey, we were here. And then have information there. If they like that, then they can click on and buy something or attend something. How about YouTube? Does anybody have a YouTube channel? Where you post content? You're posting videos? Excellent. Video is massive. Video is huge, although people's attention spans are going down, so you got to make your videos short. I make a lot of videos. That's the camera here. I have about 1,100 videos on one channel. I just reached 5 million views on my main channel, and I have a couple other channels that I put other topics on as well.
Okay, so if we want to go see your videos, then we go to.
You could go to any of my websites and hit the YouTube link. So you can go to romatimebistro.com, you can go to marcusguiliano.com, chefonamission.com. Click any of those, and it'll go right to YouTube. Or you can go right to YouTube and look up Aroma Time on YouTube, and you'll see.
Do all of your, I did pull up your website, but I'm not sure because you mentioned right now several URLs that you have. Do they all feed back to your?
A lot of them feed back. I have about 30 URLs. I have 30 websites. Most of them feed back. There's a couple that don't. And those are really more obscure that don't have to do anything with me or my business or something. So they won't link back. But majority of my websites will interlink and web back to. You'll see a link for like my green certified restaurant or Chef Marcus's bio, and it'll link back and you can easily maneuver.
And honestly, how much of a problem is it? Easy for me to say. How much of a problem is it to maintain all of those? Do you have a staff just for that?
I have a guy who just helps me do that. I say this is what I need done, and he'll do it. He knows every Monday to go on and change my events. He knows to go on every Friday and update my specials, or every day to update my specials. He works off-site, and the Dropbox, when the Dropbox is updated on his computer, he goes, oh, specials are updated. He grabs the specials and does it. So yeah, so I do a lot myself. My staff will do some, but then I have a guy off-site who does for me as well. So through a service, it's a lot to do.
It's always been my problem.
It's a lot. It can be a lot. We're going to talk about scaling. We're going to talk about scaling at the end here. How important is a good camera? Do I need to edit? How about the lighting? This is people always say, oh, I don't have a good enough camera. I can't edit. I can't tell you, it took me a year to learn how to edit before I actually took the time to say, hey, I can edit. My first camera was like $109. But we all have phones now. I'm actually doing a course next week in Orlando, Florida, to restaurateurs on smartphone photography. How to do smartphone photography. To utilize what's in your pocket already. An iPhone or these Androids, Samsungs, they're 1,000 times more powerful than cameras from 15 years ago. The filters, the edits, the angles, it's insane what you can do with what's in your pocket already. The problem is you're not doing it. So the problem is you don't have content. And then you're going back to saying, well, I don't have a good camera, I can't edit this and that. No.
We need a course.
Of course, yeah.
I just have a funny story. I forgot that you can get Wi-Fi, on your phone. So I just connected Wi-Fi. My daughter is texting me chemistry. She did something in chemistry just now and took a video of it, and she just sent it to me so I could see copper zinc with the liquid of copper turn blah blah blah, and because it's interesting to her, right? So I guarantee you she put that on Instagram and sent it to all of her friends. She's 16. That's what they do. They shouldn't be doing it in school, but that's what she did.
But it's school related.
Yeah. So
It's relevant.
So as like I had you pull your phones out, you go to a lot of places, speeches, and they'll be like, put your phones away, put them on vibrate, this or that. It's like going onto a social media platform. The technology's here. You're not going to ignore your phones right now. I know that. If your kids call, work calls, you're going to read a text message. So now, how do you embrace that technology? Well, I just embrace it by saying, hey, text me. Pull your phones out, text me. That's what it is right now. That's the reality of it. How do you work with it? People say, oh, look, and so they're wasting time on the internet. They're wasting time on their phone. Well, what would they have been doing? They would have been stuck on the television wasting time, right? In most cases. So it's just a matter of it's different technology. We're still doing the same stuff, which sometimes is boring to a lot of people. I don't know how a lot of these kids just sit there and look and look and look. But years ago, kids would, I remember as a kid, I'd come home every day, plop myself right down in front of the TV and watch cartoons for an hour and a half, an hour. Every day. Tom and Jerry, I knew what was on every day as a kid. If my kids sat in front of the TV for an hour and a half or an hour, even a half an hour, I'd be like, what's wrong with these kids? But they're on their phone for the same time. They're viewing what they want to view. They're not locked into 30 channels anymore. They can view whatever they want to view, especially with YouTube. So, content is king. Going back, do I have the right camera? Do I have editing? Do I have lighting? Content is king. You put content up, people will watch it. You put good content up, more people will watch it. That's the bottom line. My first camera was terrible. The lighting was terrible. I couldn't edit, it was terrible. It was one take in that, and I uploaded it to the computer and I went with it. And that was it. If you look at my YouTube channel, the transformation from my first video to my last videos over the course of 6 years, a short 6 years, is mind-boggling, the quality difference. But I have videos that are 5 years old that have millions of views. 1 million views, 2 million views. People are watching it. So it doesn't matter. I can make the nicest video, the best lighting, because I have the lighting in my office. I have a 4K camera. I can edit properly now. I can add music to it. I can do all this stuff. But if it's not good content, people aren't going to watch it. So content, content, content. And the more content, the better off you are. How about radio shows or podcasts? I love this because I get to establish myself as an expert. It's called authority marketing. And you don't need to be an authority to do authority marketing. You just need to interview authorities. Would you buy a book from a person who has no real estate experience? Probably not, right? So would you buy a real estate book from a person with no real estate experience who wrote it? No. But have this person interview the top 10 experts in real estate. Would you buy their book? Right? Yeah. Same thing with a radio show or podcast. Interview people, interview experts. But it allows you to be in the circle of these experts. Now, I don't interview anybody on my podcasts because I have a lot to talk about and I have a passion and I'm the expert on that, so I don't need to interview people. But a lot of people say, I don't know where to start, I don't know where to start. Get a guest. Get a guest on the topic you want to talk about, interview them. You can go onto so many different platforms now and say, hey, I need an expert. Haro, help a reporter out. Has anybody ever heard of that service, Haro? Help a reporter out. You post a query on there and say, I need to interview an expert on baby diapers. You'll have 100 emails in your inbox of baby diaper experts that you can interview for your radio show, for your blog, for whatever. They're there. It's amazing what you can get.
Also, Women's Media Center, which has a specific emphasis on bringing more women's voices into the public domain.
Excellent. Women's Media Center?
Women's Media. It's called SheSource.
You want to write that? Thanks for sharing. So to do a podcast and a radio show doesn't really cost much. It doesn't cost much at all. And it's a way that guests can find you and say, hey, that's an expert and I want to buy from them. Website versus blog. Do I need both? You need both. You need a website and a blog. A website is how people find you. It's how they can call you. It's how they can see what you're offering. It's how they can see where you're located. It's how they can read about you. Your blog is where you express your personality. Your blog is who you are. Your blog is you.
Can you have one inside the other?
You can have one, yeah. Yeah, you can use the same platform and have a blog section and go, yeah. You don't need a separate domain name. I happen to do both like that on certain ones. I have a great website called 50mistakes.com, and it has